Hello, you know what? Not really gonna waste time this week, let's just jump into it. I send you a tweet asking, how you doing? And you then reply telling me how you doing. I take a few of the replies and I find films that will complement or contrast those moods depending on what they are. They're not necessarily good films, but they are hopefully the right films, because I'd argue that's way more important. It's always good when a film can be both, but if it can't, yeah. Also research the films. If you are someone who may find films triggering, you get the picture. Let's go. So in the replies to the tweet that I sent out, the word lonely came up 4 times. The words sad and anxious came up 8 times. The word stress came up a lovely 14 times. And the word happy came up a modest but understandable 2 times. Everybody okay? Anybody need a hug? However, the word that actually came up the most times was my Twitter handle, so I think I really won this one. I did films for stress last time, you can find that somewhere up here. So I'm gonna sidestep that just a little bit and give you 6 films to help you find yourself. I mean, I would argue that pretty much all films help you find yourself a little bit, but you know what I mean. And because you've probably been flooded with Christmas stuff everywhere else, I'm gonna try and keep these as non-Christmassy as possible. What was that? Nothing, we're just gonna do the thing. So, Alfie says, mellow, tired, and weirdly, kinda calmly stressed, which I know isn't possible, please help. Well, let me first help by saying that, Alfie, that's extremely possible. So does it feel like... Because, yep, that's, it's definitely possible. Anyway, gonna get you a film, gonna make you feel much better. Have you seen Punch Drunk Love? Barry is a man with a small business, a large amount of loneliness, a lot of sisters, and a lot more issues. And then he meets someone and it gets a bit weird and wonderful. This is one of the early films of a Mr. Paul Tommy Anderson, as I like to call him. It has a winding and ridiculous plot, but that honestly doesn't matter because it hangs together off of tone and mood mostly. And the mood is all just kind of weird. It's like a strange, awkward pause in what used to be a friendly conversation, and yet now the whole thing feels like it could explode at a moment's notice. And yet the whole thing is wrapped up in this dreamy, light, and very fluffy texture. Not to wax a bit too lyrically. Do not be turned away by the casting, it is really, really good. So check this out, I think it really captures the mood of everything's fine, 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 no it's not, no it's not, no it's not. Really nicely. Recommended viewing experience. Watch after a day when you've done a lot of work and yet it still feels like you can't relax. If you're anything like me, I'm sure it's a feeling that you're familiar with. Okay, number 2, have you seen All the President's Men? All the President's Men is about a scandal at the highest level of American government. This is back in the days when government was, you know what, we don't have time. 2 journalists investigate what looks like a small break-in, only to find that the pieces don't really add up. And before you know it, they're meeting people in pitch black parking lots and checking their apartments for hidden microphones and trying to see just how deep this thing goes. Creeping dread. I think it's the feeling that this film captures just really, really nicely. Because the whole thing boils down to people in rooms talking, and yet there's just a feeling that something isn't right that rides over the entire piece. And while you were maybe hoping for a film that will calm you down, sorry about that, I hope you enjoy this one anyway. Recommend a viewing experience, watch with an audience. Doesn't have to be in a cinema, but no talking, no food, lights out, the works. Moving on, Falalalia says, going on an adventure to find yourself and your craft. Ooh, have you seen Frank? Oh, is that the one with the, yeah, it's the one with the, Frank is about a man who is drawn to and ends up working with a band, the lead singer of which was a giant fiberglass head. All the time. Don't let the trailers fool you with this one. It is quirky and fun in the sense of many indie darlings, but beneath that is a genuine look at mental health and the creation of art and the relationship between the two. And going one layer deeper, the perception that people have about the relationship between the two. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Essentially, this is a chance to question what you think it takes to make what you makes. It also features wonderful performances from Domhnall Gleeson, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Scoot McNairy, and Michael Fassbender, who wears the head for the whole film. The man is acting with a face over his face. Recommended viewing experience, watch with friends who you usually make inside jokes with. This one has a few lines that are quite quotable. Okay, second choice, have you seen Their Finest? Yeah, honestly, I get it. Anyway, Their Finest is about a woman who is employed by a studio trying to make a propaganda film. Propaganda! Censorship! Shut up! A propaganda film to raise morale during the Second World War. She gets a job writing the women's dialogue, or as they have so affectionately named it, the slop. And hot diggity damn, not enough people saw this movie. Chances are you didn't even know that it came out this year, or you did and you meant to see it but you didn't get a chance to. Now is your chance to correct that. This is not just a love letter to the films of yesteryear. It uses a melodramatic style, large and memorable characters, and a simple but effective plot to essentially become one of them. I'm gonna need a minute. It's also got a few tricks up its sleeve, none of which I will ruin, but all of which result in a winning picture that will, if you're anything like me, hit you right in the heart and stay with you until the end of the year. Recommended viewing experience? This is a good date movie, I think. If you're someone who does those, maybe make it one of those. If not, watch it with a friend who you can just give the biggest hug to afterwards. Alrighty then, last person. So Simon says, in a routine and in need of some inspiration to break out of it, and ideally wanting it to be funny. That's a tall order, but I might have just the film. Have you seen Anomalisa? It's about a man struggling in his day-to-day existence. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Honestly, I think the less I say the better. By the nature of storytelling, most films contain an upset to the status quo, but I wanted to find something that was a bit more personal. Something that really captures the feeling of mundanity and then just throws it into chaos. And Anomalisa begins with a really strange blend of mundanity and chaos, and then continues to raise both of them until you're not sure where you stand with either. Honestly, this is a weird one for me to recommend because I'm not sure that the sum total of the film works for me, but the parts that do work really work. The animation is gorgeous, the voice acting is stunning, and you will most likely be left with some feelings about loneliness and individuality. Those sound like they're in your wheelbarrow. Give this one a look. Recommended viewing experience. Watch alone or with close friends, but try and make sure that you have something social to do afterwards, otherwise you might get lost in a maze of your own thoughts. It can definitely do that to you. Anyway, last recommendation. Have you seen The Nightmare Before Christmas? So The Nightmare Before Christmas is a film directed by Henry Selick. Oh, I thought it was directed by... I know what you thought. You thought wrong. So there's this town where they're all like super into Halloween, and there's this one dude and he's like really good at it, but also there's this weird thing called Christmas, and he kind of wants to try that out. So of course he kidnaps Santa and takes his place. Also, it's a musical. Yeah, this film's weird. It's kind of great though. So I know this one has a large cult following who admire the aesthetic and the characters, but I think honestly the core story here doesn't get enough credit sometimes. It's simple but relatable and has a large cast of characters, and the whole thing feels really colourful, but it never overstays its welcome. Also, the songs are really good, even the ones that aren't the two that you probably remember. The question is though, is it a Christmas film? Is it a Halloween film? It's definitely a Christmas film. Also, so are Psycho and Prometheus for some reason. Recommended viewing experience. I'm guessing you've seen this one already, so watch it with someone who hasn't. It'll help you see the film through new eyes and hopefully take something else away from it. Okay, that's all we have for today. I hope that you are having a wonderful holiday, whatever you are celebrating. For now, I am Sam, that was some stuff. I will see you next time.